Thank you. Actually, Shelvin has beaten me. I was supposed to be the last speaker, so he's going to be the last one today. Okay, I'm going to give you the experience of using RSD in UU114. But before we actually go into that, I'd just like to give you a bit of a background about the course itself, especially for Sally and John, and for those who don't know much about this. Even before it became a university course, UU114 as it is not now. It used to be known as LL114. And it was compulsory in many programs at university, which meant that students literally from all over the world were requested to do this as part of their program. And ever since I have been involved in this course, I have realized that there is a need to actually be more learner-centered as well as be more passionate about how you actually respond and give feedback to the students. And having a look at the diversity that we have, looking at the number of students I see from different parts of the world, all the different time zones, the different languages, background they have, one thing that I realized was that they still look forward to the written feedback that we give them. I still have, even today, students in Fiji, in Kandahar, in the highlands of Lake Nasiri, even in the outer Lau groups, Mamanuda groups, as well as in the remote Solomon Islands, and again PNG and other places, where they still don't have electricity. Forget about internet, Moodle, M-learning, e-learning. So when we have at least 30 to 40% of such students, we have to actually provide the feedback to them in such a way that they actually understand and also improve on that. At times, they don't get the information because they just don't have any other facility. And where results are concerned, I haven't yet seen the exam papers of last semester for some of the students because it takes time when they are being sent by boats, and the boats travel once a month to some of these islands. So we already have certain things in the course where we have realized that there is a need to provide as much feedback from day one, as soon as we get some response from the students, as soon as we get an assignment from them. The yellow cover sheet that the distance students use, the assignments that the face-to-face students use, that had become a form of communication for us. And we used that the most for most of our things. So what actually it meant for us, it was in a way we could say that already in the course itself, because we already had a rubric, unlike other courses which are still trying to design a rubric for themselves. We already had a rubric, and we just had to redefine it in such a way that it actually matched the RSD facet which was being introduced. So we had a team of our staff who actually participated in the training, and they actually re-examined the rubric that we had and tried to actually rearrange the elements that we had in our marking criteria, or what is it usually called, to see how we can actually match it and actually align it according to the RSD facet itself. This is what our traditional marking criteria, or a section where research and bibliography writing section actually looked at. And we were using marks, and we actually had details of what it meant. So if anyone got a 1 or a 2 or a 4, they could actually understand where the weaknesses were, or where they had done, or what was actually wrong and where they could improve. So when we had the RSD workshop, the staff actually had a look at what the RSD focused rubric should look like. And what they found was that there wasn't much difference after they actually had a look at a few of the assignments. What we did was we marked the assignments using our own traditional marking criteria, and then the one that we had redesigned using the RSD one. And we marked assignments using both marking criteria, but because the content of both marking criteria were the same, we didn't find many differences in the scores that the students had. The reason was because, as I mentioned, the content remained the same, it was only the layout which had changed. And because the staff had already been mentored, they were already aware of how to actually mark, there wasn't much difficulty in them using it. So this is what it looks like now. Instead of having something which was in the way it was before, this is what it looks like now with the uses of the RSD criteria on the side. We have the facets, the elements, and then the excellence, the milestones, benchmark, and all the other levels that we are now slowly introducing to the university system itself. And of course the minor details are included there as well. So what does it mean? What I did was I actually questioned the academics or the staff who actually who are teaching the course to actually, after they had a look at the assignments, to see actually how they felt, what the content of the new marking criteria looked like, whether it was easy to complete, what were some of the things they thought was missing, whether it looked very dense, whether there was too many things to look at, and whether it was any similar or different from the previous marking criteria. Of course, also if they had actually discussed it with the students initially, because that's one thing we always try to actually help the students is when they are submitting an assignment, not just submit the assignment, teach them what the steps are, how they should be providing all the different things, as well as look at the marking criteria so that at least they know if they fulfill all the criteria or not. And of course, was there any difference between the two? One of the things that most of them actually mentioned was that it was more precise. The new RSD one is very precise, and unlike the traditional marking criteria that we used, where we had a 3-page marking criteria which they had to print and staple it together with the assignments for marking, it was all on one page. So that was a very positive thing. Other things that they also mentioned was because it is so dense, the staff were forced to now go back and have a look at the assignment and put feedback there on the page rather than in the spacious marking criteria that we were using before. So the students, of course, we actually provide the feedback, but there was an opportunity for more of this to be done now with a 1-page marking criteria, a dense marking criteria, so they actually did it on the assignment sheet itself. So we have tested the rubric. We have already checked for the validity and reliability. We have actually done the fairness and all of those things. We are actually using it for all our assignments for face-to-face students' assignments this semester. And it is going to be introduced to the DFL students' assignments from next semester, which is already, I have already incorporated that into the introduction and assignment booklet. And of course, having a look at the staff feedback, we can say there is a bit of more testing and fine-tuning necessary, but that will of course be there anyway. So when I had a look at what some of the board, bed, rubric designing and things should look like, it comes up with things like, it should rank the scores from left to right. And if you have a look at what you have in front of you, you will find that it has that. And of course, the best rubrics should be tested and developed. And of course, there's something that the university is planning to do. Of course, you have to also check it for validity and reliability. And if you are having, let's say, a university-wide rubric, it can be used for different purposes as well. And like in this case, what has been said, a writing assignment can be scored on a rubric for the quality of the writing, but maybe a number of elements of the written piece that must be included in order for the paper to be successful in meeting content standards that are outside the actual writing standard. So a science writing can actually look at the writing as well as for its content as well. It has to be effectively, it is to be used effectively to communicate with students about what is expected, how well are they meeting the expectations, and this is where I emphasize it more, because where we have a course which is offered by both modes, and where we have students who don't have the technology, where they still use the print-based method, we have to make sure that whatever feedback we give them, it is communicated well, and a very well-defined rubric can actually make it that way. So to make things fair, and also to help teachers grade better, so that when a student gets an 8 out of 10, the student knows what that 8 stands for. Thank you.